am under pressure to be fair,
Very
to be
well.
just. If you're my friend, Al-Hajj, but if yellow card is to be shown, I showed it to you with ease.
Of course, of
So
course.
that basic, I enjoy doing that as well. And my commitment is, of course, to give every assignment I have my best shot, in spite of the human frailty that might be found here and there. But in my heart of heart, I go in for it. And it's not only now. Even one thing I skipped as my contribution to the nation was to to be on the national basketball team. You remember that?
Yes, of course.
For over 7 years, Esa Gay and Mbad Job and Modnjai and Cherno Ture, we were on the team.
Exactly.
And you just gave your best. Why? Because of motherland.
Let's talk some politics now.
Go
Small
ahead.
little politics. You were a referee, but before the holding of elections, you were one of those who review the Constitution. I'm sure you must have seen the first Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and the second
Oh, yes.
Constitution. There are disparities here and there.
Oh, yeah.
What is the borderline? What do you deduce from these two constitutions? Which is more of the people?
Well, as you know, the first one was 1970. We kind of just we found it there. But in the case of the Constitution of the Second Republic,
1997.
I was privileged to be an architect of it. But take note, our assignment was just an assignment, full stop. You then hand over the product to the
relevant authority.
Whatever
AFPRC.
AFPRC. They gave us an assignment.
Mm.
They said, now we are changing. We've suspended the constitution. We've suspended parliament. We want a group of Gambians to consult the people and then come up with a new constitution for the Second Republic. So I was part and parcel of that. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. And especially with the consultation. You know, you remember for weeks we invited people to come in and to give their view. We then went up and down the country. I enjoyed that very much, going to Bintang and wherever else, you know, listen to the people. And we tried to capture it, what their thoughts and ideas were. And so as far as the commission was concerned, as a team, we finished our assignment and then say, here you are, this is what our findings are. And then for us, that was the end of it. And in my view, we captured not only the mind and will and aspirations of the people, but we also were able to compare what goes on in other Commonwealth nations and compare and contrast and felt, you know, and just try to capture. For us, it was just trying to interpret and to translate the mind of Gambian people at the time. And for us, assignment complete, you go back to where you were. That's basically my policy. When the assignment is complete, I retreat to base.
That must have been the pivot or the stepping stone. Stepping stone would be the right word. The stepping stone for you to gain recognition, and consequently you became vice chair of the Provisional Independent Electoral Commission. But let me take you to when you became chairman of when it was Independent Electoral Commission.
Yes.
Here you were the main referee with your linesmen on the sides.
Right.
All right. Credibility of Gambian elections. How
excellent.
credible?
Oh man, you asking me to mark my own exam? Perfect. We did a good job.
Absolutely.
My only palaver was when we conducted what I thought was the number one of all elections, presidential. Number two of all elections, general. Our problem was with the third one, mayors and
councillors.
That's where the problem was. Because my concern was, you can't have a mayor sitting in the one chair for 7 years. Why the president has to go back to face the election
every 5
years? So I put my foot down. I said, no, we must have this one. And that was where the misunderstanding was. Again, it was good. I was able to understand the root cause of that problem. You see, when we were doing the Constitution, we left that open. The ground rules for municipal elections were left open for the National Assembly. Whereas the Review Commission, we were clear about the ground rules for presidential and general. But again, I repeat, we left the ground rules for municipal elections to the National Assembly. And in my view, the National Assembly were, not, they were waiting for it. When are you going to give us? That was basically what the palaver was. My great friend, Speaker Wada, went to his office many times. When am I going to have my ground rules? I went to the people, the legal advisors. When are we going to have our ground rules? We cannot wait and wait and wait and wait. We must go through the process of periodic elections. Since we've done it for the presidential one, and the general one, why not the mayors and the district? And that was where the problem was.
Is the conduct of Gambian elections a product that one can export?
Of course. During my mandate as head of IC, I was privileged to be on an election observation team to Guyana. And I remember vividly, there was an old lady who had never been to school. And she was given pencil and paper to mark X. She could not. If it were in Gambia, whether you are PhD or you've not been to school, we give you a marble, your eyesight is good, you put your marble in.
Absolutely.
It's good for particularly areas in the two-thirds world that may not have people who are literate. But I think it's a perfect, of course we need to, I'm sure my successor, Mr. Carrier and the team are improving on, for example, people tell me that the sound of the bell when the marble hits it may vary, and how can you be there for a whole day listening to sound? But that's a minor thing. But little things like that could be sharpened. But I will not, if it's a referendum tomorrow, whether to keep the marbles, I will vote to keep the marbles. Keep the marbles.
You're watching the interview, and my guest is His Eminence, the Primate and Archbishop of the Church of West Africa, the Anglican Community, Solomon Tilewa Johnson. Away from the politics, let me come back. You were bishop, and just a couple of weeks ago, Archbishop, the transition.
My. It was, for me, I describe it as a miracle. Let me just quickly remind your viewers about the structure of the Anglican Communion. We are the third largest communion. The Roman Catholics are the largest. The Orthodox churches of the Eastern are the second largest. And the Anglican Communion, we have 80 million Anglicans in the world. And this number is divided, well, there are 880 bishops. I'm one of 880 bishops of the Anglican Communion. And these dioceses are divided into 38. Province of West Africa, Church of England, Church of Nigeria, Church of Central Africa. And each church, each province is headed by a primate. So there are only 38 primates in the world. So I feel highly privileged to be one of the 38. And for us, that's the highest position you can have. It's like the equivalent to that is the Roman Catholic cardinals. So in our church, there are only 38 cardinals. And in our case, there is no pope. Each cardinal is same level. But for order's sake, when we meet, one of us should chair. And we give that honor to the primate of Church of England, the Archbishop of Canterbury. But primus inter pares, first among equals. So that, for me, is what people need to realize. It's a very weighty responsibility. And that's why I call for prayers constantly to be able to sit among that group of 38 top leaders of the Anglican Communion to begin to talk policy, to see what pastoral and other issues we need to sort out. So it all happened when we, as the church in West Africa, we have 16 dioceses. We met in Liberia, and it was the 8th primate was retiring. He retired at the age of 70. And now we say we need to have an election process. An election process. Of course, for us, it's no campaigning. You have to pray hard and seek for God's will. However, we then had this election. Little Gambia, we had only, by the way, 3 delegates. And each diocese comes with a delegation of 3. And there are 16 dioceses.